Hello, and a very warm welcome back to the Sussex Daily News Channel version 2. This video, we give you a piece of breaking news. Dan Wootton blasted the Meghan and Harry book as a big, bad misstep. Yesterday on The Sun, Dan Wootton claimed Meghan and Harry's new book. In persuasive words and humiliating the couple, Dan convinced us that these hypocrites will pay a painful price. The following is his article we collected on The Sun. Victimhood now seeps through the celebrity culture. Hard-working folk are regularly expected to feel sympathy for multimillionaires moaning from Hollywood mansions about all manner of minor injustices, far removed from the real problems most of us have to face today. There is no more pertinent example than the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who just so happen to be the two of the most privileged human beings alive. Global superstars, actual royalty, and so rich they never have to work again, asking for the world's sympathy in the midst of an unprecedented global pandemic. No couple in modern history of the royal family has managed to overturn such overwhelming goodwill from all quarters so quickly by choosing to present themselves as victims. The central thesis of the ridiculously titled hagiography Finding Freedom by their favorite journalists with whom they regularly communicate is that the monarchy was somehow unwilling to embrace the popularity of Prince Harry and his unconventional new Duchess Meghan Markle. That claim is dubious and is strongly disputed by courtiers through the institution. For all his faults, Prince Charles, the heir to the throne, came to quickly regard Harry and Meghan Markle as a much-needed asset. They were also a tool to keep the rambunctious house of William and Kate in line. One of the great ironies of Megxit is that it has finally helped to heal some of the enduring wounds in the close relationship between Charles and Wills, which sources close to them both concede was frosty. The couple also had the full and unwavering support of the Queen, who adores and accepted Meghan despite expressing concern about the aspects of her behavior in the run-up to the wedding, especially in regards to what is now known as Tiaragate. There is no denying that the very obvious tensions between Harry and William were critical to what went wrong. Strains between the previously tight dukes were evident from the moment Meghan became the driving force behind Harry's decision-making, encouraging him to stop working with the royal reporting rota and instead embrace the use of social media. But ultimately, the breakdown was personal. From the start, Kate was horrified at the way Meghan spoke to the staff members at Kensington Palace, and it was clear they would never click in the way Princess Diana and Sarah Ferguson had once done. The now infamous tiara row, which I first revealed in November 2018, was the culmination of many fallouts before the wedding. Afterward, William and the Queen's dresser and closest confidant, Angela Kelly, were united in their decision not to loan Meghan items from the royal collection, which included tiaras worn by Diana. As I report these stories, it is true to say Harry and Meghan became suspicious of their own staff, incorrectly believing they had been somehow hijacked by dark forces, the so-called men in grey suits at Buckingham Palace. That categorization is too simplistic. Who are these men? They may have existed in 1982, but the senior figures in key roles behind the scenes within the royal family tend to be thoroughly modern members of the metropolitan elite these days. While it is correct to say they encouraged the couple to follow more conventional processes in terms of their dealings with other royal households and the press, the real-life Sussex squad was doggedly committed to the couple's principles and goals. For example, their communications chief Sarah Latham, blamed by Meghan for any negative stories in British newspapers, was a highly successful operator who had worked for Hillary Clinton. She was prepared to pack up her life in London and move to Africa with the couple permanently to help them achieve their humanitarian goals. Much official time and energy were put into the South African relocation plan. They could spend up to half a year based out of the Commonwealth country, only for the couple to eventually brand it too difficult. Instead, Harry and Meghan foolishly began to rely almost entirely on advice provided by a small team of fiercely loyal Hollywood advisors. I managed to unpick details of this secret cabal throughout the latter half of last year, but they had been causing major headaches for Buckingham Palace long before that. The group, attorney Rick Janot, business manager Andrew Meyer, and talent agent Nick Collins are typical Hollywood yes people. Just as important were her PR advisors from the controversial crisis management firm Sunshine Sachs, specifically Sean Sachs and Kelly Thomas Morgan. They had all become close with Meghan while she was a moderate star on the cable TV legal drama Suits, an era when she was so desperate for coverage in magazines that she would even set up shots with paparazzi photographers. She kept the Hollywood crew largely on the sidelines during the early days of her courtship with Harry, but as tensions with royal courtiers increased, so too did Meghan's contact with them. It was this team who bunkered down with Meghan over Christmas and New Year in Canada, secretly drafting the content for the Sussex royal website that, when published, read more like a Hollywood press release than a statement of intent by two senior members of the royal British family. Much has been written about how I broke the story of Megxit, with the finger incorrectly being pointed at both Clarence House and Kensington Palace. The couple likes to promote the idea that they were somehow ambushed into revealing their plans after we published the world exclusive on January 8th. However, they neglect to mention I had originally put the story there in their office 10 days earlier and had discussed every aspect of what we eventually published with their officials. It's not a coincidence my first story of the move included details of the Sussexes' unhappiness about the release of photographs over Christmas featuring the Queen, Charles, William, and George. The biography goes further by pointing to the absence of a picture of Harry, Meghan, and Archie on the Queen's table during her annual Christmas Day message. It is inconceivable to me that this wasn't a purposeful slight by the institution trying to make a point to Harry and Meghan, come back and join the party during events like Christmas, or we'll pretend you don't exist. It backfired spectacularly. So can such a toxic relationship be healed? There is a growing acknowledgement from both sides that so long as Harry and Meghan's romantic relationship may remain strong, that is highly unlikely. But this book is a spectacular own goal by a couple who like to insist they are opposed to bitchy off-the-record briefings and royal revelations using source quotes slagging off other members of the firm. Because fundamentally, that's all finding freedom is. Unlike Andrew Martin's game-changing Diana, her true story, there is no revelation that makes you think differently about what went on. A couple, desperate to blame others for their unwise decisions, has allowed a fanboy journalist to confirm a whole load of newspaper exclusives, which they incidentally denied at the time, but spun with their own often false narrative. Harry and Meghan are not victims of the media, the establishment of the British public. I will never forget that beautiful spring day in May 2018, when the entire country celebrated a royal wedding with a type of hope and joy not seen since July 1981, when Charles and Diana tied the knot. It was one of those rare moments, like the London 2012 Olympics, when we celebrated as one. Meanwhile, many fans also agree with Dan. One said, "I'm totally in agreement with this story. I think I can honestly say that I don't think I've ever come across a person quite so demanding, conniving, and basically evil to attract attention as this lady in my entire life. And it's honestly scary. She's a narcissist, and please don't delete this Sun newspaper." If they are not exiled, when does this end? They left it, was their choice. We're still afforded titles and financial assistance from Prince Charles, but as expected, they are abusing it. She is a ruthless social climber and has no business even being associated with our royal family. Another added, "I just hope anyone with any sense does not buy this book. Some of the whinges in it, from what I have read, are absolutely ludicrous. For example, not a photo of them on the Queen's desk in the Queen's speech, when the photos were of the line of succession to the throne, and not getting the plum jobs as William and Kate did. Well, that is because William is second in line to the throne, and Harry is sixth. Those are two ludicrous examples of how petty and self-opinionated they are." And the last one wrote, "The funny thing about this Markle woman is that she really thinks she is relevant. She thinks everyone wants to hear from her just because she went horse riding on the spare to the heir's appendage. Sorry, honey. You had your moments in the sun on that big white wedding we all paid for. She totally misunderstands what kind of fame she has. However, she continues to squeeze the pips out of her media opportunity, and very smug she is too. If she was normal, we would not have heard anything from either of them. Plenty of royals live in the background, living lavish lives in big, poosh houses with staff and privilege. They go about their lives Without issue, just think Princess Anne, Zara, etc., and they are obviously far more royal than Rachel woe-is-me Markle. Won't be long before he is back home with Wills and Kate looking after his silly asses. And you? What do you think about Dan's opinion? Please leave a comment for me below so we can discuss together. If you see my video useful, remember to like and share it for anyone who might also be interested. And subscribe to my channel to get more news from the royal family. Now, have a nice day and see you in the next videos.
Meghan is on a difficult road with a golden compass. Her power is understood as the power bought with Harry's faith. Meghan's small steps will gradually build her relationships. She's inherently the destroyer. The things Meghan undergoes are shattered, never returning to the same way. The story will continue to drag long, only when someone stops causing trouble. Oh my God. Once again I beg you to help poor Meghan.